Welcome to Constantinople. I'm Will, and I'm your tour guide, and I'm going to give you some brief history about the city. It was first named Byzantium and was founded in 657 BC by Greek city-state ruler Megara. Over time, the Persians, Athenians, Spartans, and Macedonians controlled the city. Eventually, the Roman Empire took control, and Emperor Diocletian divided it into 4 parts.
Which part became Byzantium?
The west part. After Constantius' death, his son Constantine rose to power, and the city was named Constantinople.
What are the key geographical features of Constantinople?
It is on the western strait of the Bosphorus Sea and length of the Mediterranean Sea and Black Sea. It's a really good place for trading too. It utilizes the Golden Horde Harbor and is also between Europe and Asia Minor, linking it between both continents.
Did they use any rivers to trade in Constantinople?
Yeah, they actually did. They used the Danube River and the Dnieper River.
Later on, your tour guide Sam will give you more in-depth information about what they traded. The population of Constantinople was very diverse. It had Greek people, Latin people, Coptic people, Armenian people, and Persian people. For example, some of the people they had were the honostories, which translates to the privileged, and the humilores, which translates to the humble. The honostories could learn to read and write. However, the humilores had to learn the same profession as their parents. It was nice to meet you guys, but now Bella's going to take over.
Hi, I'm your tour guide Bella, and I'll be telling you a little bit about the architecture in Constantinople. First, we have the Theodosian walls, which were first built by Theodosius II in 408 to 1450 CE. The first level of the walls was the moat, which were 60 feet wide, 22 feet deep, and stretched 4 miles from coast to coast. Behind the moat was an outer wall, which had a patrol track to oversee the moat. Behind this was a second wall made of brick and limestone, which had regular towers and an interior terrace to provide a firing platform to shoot down on any enemy forces. Behind this was a third wall, much more massive than the inner wall. This final defense was almost 5 meters thick, 12 meters high, and presented to the enemy 96 projecting towers. Now we've reached the Hippodrome, which was constructed in the 4th century AD by Roman Emperor Constantine. It was used mainly as an arena for very popular, competitive, and occasionally violent chariot races. It was also used for sacred ceremonies, public celebrations, and political debates.
Hi, my name is Sam. I'll be your third tour guide today.
Constantinople was known for its successful trade, specifically on the Silk Road and a trade route from the Black Sea and a trade route from the Caspian Sea. Constantinople traded with most surrounding countries as far south as Africa and as north as Russia.
How did they trade in Constantinople?
Well, in Constantinople, they were the largest producer of pottery and ceramic products, specifically terracotta and amphora. They also traded marble and silk from China.
The Constantinople government was a bureaucracy made up of a head emperor and state officials. The Constantinople government had a close link between church and state. Some of the notable leaders in the government were Constantine I, who founded Constantinople, Justinian the Great, and Heraclius.
Moving on to the Hagia Sophia, another very significant piece of architecture in Constantinople. Hagia Sophia translates to Church of the Holy Wisdom, and it was commissioned by Constantine in 325.
What was the Hagia Sophia's original purpose?
It was originally a basilica for Eastern Orthodox. It was originally combined with the design elements of an Orthodox basilica with large domed roof and a semi-domed altar with 2 narthex, which were also known as porches, in an effort to create a grand basilica that represented all of the Byzantine Empire. Justinian ordered all provinces under his rule to send architectural pieces such as marble floor, column, ceiling from Syria, bricks from North Africa, and marble slabs as the interior from Egypt. And it stood at 269 feet in length and 240 feet in width. The most important event held in the Hagia Sophia were the chariot races. They were also held to honor military victories, the birthdays of the emperor, and his family's official state visits.
Were there any famous chariot racers?
Actually, there's no direct source, but they were equivalent to present-day football stars. Circuses were also held here in the Hippodrome. They consisted of acrobats, dance, and theater performances. Children often took part in dance shows, but the acrobats were usually favored over the dance and theatrical plays. There were also rabbit and dog races held during the circuses, including elephants, giraffes, bears, and tigers, equestrian vaulting, the tightrope, and wild animal fights.
What religion did they practice?
So they primarily practiced Christianity as they became the seat of the Eastern Orthodox Church after the Great Schism, and they also spoke the Byzantine Greek language.
Here are one of the acrobats.
As for the gender relations in Constantinople, only men could be priests, and they could also be eunuchs, which gave them high levels of power because they could attain high positions in the Byzantine court, and in part because they were regarded as trustworthy due to the fact that they couldn't, they had the inability to claim the throne and have descendants. Justinian's wife, Theodora, was known for many reforms that allowed women to not only be expected to take care of the children in the home, but become powerful, successful businesswomen, writers, philosophers, and even empresses who ruled as regents in their own right, and rise above the limitations imposed on them by the male-dominated culture. They could also become nuns and church clerks, had equal rights with men to inherit property, only they were excused from public office, and from the church they were seen as spiritually equal to male counterparts as they played their roles in the converts.
Hi, I'm Olivia, and I'm here with famous traveler Ibn Battuta. Ibn, first things first, what are your thoughts on the city?
The city is enormous.
Interesting, okay. How do you feel about the infrastructure?
The walls are strong and seem to be not easily destroyed.
What do you think about the churches?
The churches are filthy. However, the Hagia Sophia is great.
Okay, I agree. Do you like the bazaars here?
No.